As the United States celebrates the 250th anniversary of its founding, we went to check out one of the Founding Fathers' cribs. We find ourselves in Virginia, about 15 miles south of Washington, D.C., to visit George Washington's Mount Vernon. As you enter the Visitor Center, you see statues of George and Martha Washington and their two grandchildren from Martha's previous marriage that they ended up raising. George had no biological children of his own. There is a model of the Mount Vernon mansion. We will be touring the real thing in a moment. An adult grounds pass, which allows you to tour the grounds of Mount Vernon, costs $30. If you want a timed ticket to tour the mansion, that is an additional $2. A grounds pass for a kid 12 and under is $16, with the same $2 add-on for the mansion tour. The stained glass you see here is a mural called Moments of Truth, depicting 5 important moments from Washington's life. From the Visitor Center, you head outside to see the grounds, the mansion, and a museum about the life and times of our first president. On the grounds, they have a Revolutionary War encampment set up. During the 8-Year War, Washington spent more than 3 years living on the field in tents with his troops. The rest of the time, he stayed in local houses near the battle, but he rarely went home during that time. When he lived at Mount Vernon, Washington had between 300 and 350 head of cattle. There are a few cattle that call Mount Vernon home today. The grounds have 4 gardens that you can tour. The lower garden, also known as the kitchen garden, has been cultivated for growing vegetables without interruption from 1760 until today.
After walking around the grounds for a while, it was time for our mansion tour. The $2 add-on for the mansion tour is a timed ticket so that everyone doesn't attempt to take the tour all at once. But based on our experience, the time you select for your tour online is just the time they will let you get in line for the guided tours. If there's still a long line ahead of you, as was the case when we toured, there will still be a bit of a wait, but it shouldn't be too long. Guests are not allowed to use flash photography or record videos inside the mansion, so our tour here is going to resemble a slideshow for a couple minutes. The first green room was the last room added on to the mansion, so Washington called it his new room. Guests were often received and entertained in the new room. In this next parlor, you see a replica of the harpsichord that Washington bought for his step-granddaughter Nellie. We aren't going to show you everything you can see at Mount Vernon. We're just sharing some highlights to show you what it's like. We hope you'll be able to go see everything in person one day if this interests you. This bright green room is the Washington's dining room. Hanging on a wall nearby is the key to the Bastille, the infamous Paris prison. It was gifted to Washington by his friend the Marquis de Lafayette as a symbol of liberty after the prison was destroyed in the French Revolution. You will see a number of bedrooms on the tour, including this one called the Lafayette Room. which is where the Marquis de Lafayette stayed when visiting General Washington, who became like a surrogate father to him. This is the Washington's bedroom. This is the room in which President George Washington passed away of a throat infection at the age of 67. In fact, that is the exact bed in which Washington was laying when he died. After seeing all the mansion has to offer, we walked through the colonnade to see the kitchen, which was separate from the main house. There are a number of other outbuildings on the property that you can see as you tour, including a servants' hall, a smokehouse, slaves' quarters, a blacksmith shop, and more. When we were done touring the buildings, we visited the Washington's gravesite. Interestingly, a tomb was built for George Washington in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., 2 floors below the Capitol Rotunda. Apparently, they didn't ask President Washington if he would like to be buried there, because his will states that he wanted to be buried here at Mount Vernon. And so he is, as is his wife. The tomb built for him under the Capitol building remains unused. Several members of the Washington family are buried nearby, George and Martha.
About 50 yards away from the Washington's tomb is Mount Vernon's African American burial ground, where both enslaved and free African Americans who worked at Mount Vernon are buried. This marker, placed in 1929, is the first monument to enslaved people ever placed on a U.S. plantation. A more elaborate monument was added in 1989. The graves here are unmarked. Mount Vernon has used ground-penetrating radar to locate and map 87 African American graves so far. The graves are not being excavated. We are walking towards the museum now. By the way, if you have mobility issues, there's a free shuttle that runs to several spots at Mount Vernon to cut down on walking. The shuttle runs continuously throughout the day from April through October, and priority seating is given to those with mobility issues. New for 2026, an exhibit has just opened called George Washington, A Revolutionary Life. This immersive exhibit showcases the problems George Washington confronted and the character traits that defined his life. As we toured the museum, we saw actual clothes that George Washington wore, and you can also see the dentures he wore. They weren't made of wood. They were made of human teeth and animal teeth. The human teeth were taken from the mouths of enslaved people. The animal teeth likely came from horses and cows. Speaking of enslaved people, their experience at Mount Vernon is covered in this exhibit, as well as a separate museum exhibit in one of the slave quarters in the historic area of the campus. There are discussions about Washington's attitude towards slavery, which was complicated. At the time of Washington's death, most of Mount Vernon's residents were made up of 317 enslaved people. Washington freed all of the slaves he owned in his will, totaling 123 people. The other enslaved people at Mount Vernon were owned by Martha Washington's family, and neither George nor Martha could legally free them. The exhibit featured information about General Washington's military history, Citizen Washington's involvement in the Constitutional Convention, and the decisions of President Washington that set precedents that would be followed by future presidents in the years to come. After you leave the museum, you should definitely check out the gift shop with lots of mementos to take home from your visit. There's also a restaurant on site called Mount Vernon Inn. We didn't try it because we had to get on the road, but we hear good things about it. Click the links at the end of this video to see a video about General Washington's friend Marquis de Lafayette, or check out our entire America 250 playlist. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so we can see you the next time we're traveling through.